right, guys, let's get started today. It's been a good one. I'm just going to move some things around so I got a clear view. All right, sweet. Hopefully everybody's doing good today. We're going to start off with the portfolio. It actually looks a lot better than it did earlier today. It's down, I don't know, maybe close to 200,000 across all accounts earlier. Seemed to have a nice bounce in the latter part of the day, which is good because I did a bunch of dip buying. I think right now I'm probably down about 140, maybe a little bit more across all accounts. One thing to note, I've been buying a lot of PayPal 2026. I still, to my word, have not sold any of my 2025 contracts. Hoping they turn around. They took a beating today. They're down about 16%. But I've acquired about 44,000 in 2026 calls now as well. So I'm queuing up. If I don't win in 2025, I'm going to win in 2026. I've got my mind set on it. So today, everything that was more speculative in nature got crushed, especially options. Even though we got a good bounce in the afternoon, options still took a pretty big dive. Like I said, the PayPal 2025s, all the shorter term stuff, Arc Genomics, Bitcoin miners took a big hit. Just a lot of speculative stuff. And again, Fintech actually didn't do that bad. I did buy, so one thing I wanted to note, I didn't mind it going down today because I have all that cash from last week. I did a lot of buying today. So I bought Tesla and Rivian calls. I bought PayPal 2026 calls. I sold, I bought a bunch of CLSK and Bitfarms, or a decent amount. And then I sold some regular stock in Square, PayPal, and Palantir just to gather more cash so I can do more buying. So I didn't mind it at all today. Today was a good day for me because I want to accumulate more. One thing I wanted to point out, so from a market breadth standpoint, you could definitely see people getting a little bit scared about semiconductors and what NVIDIA earnings might look like tomorrow. You can see that that section took a pretty big hit. Really software in general, semiconductors, all that stuff, and just the big tech got its ass handed to it again today. And one thing I wanted to note here, let me hop out of this full screen mode just so I can change the time frame on this if I remember how to. Okay, there we go. If we go a week here too, and you look at this performance wise, you could see that again, market breadth is expanding in other areas, but at the same time, the big guys and the semiconductors and all the things that have run really hard in the last year or last 6 months are coming back a little bit. Again, I think Palantir probably was on this again today too. I think they're down like 4.5%, something like that. So anything that had like major runs pulled back and retraced. And I think that it's giving back to other sectors. And I'll show you something in a second that corroborates that. Now, for different indices, again, you can kind of see a little bit of a bounce. If we look at the charts here, wee little baby bounce. But again, a bounce nonetheless. NASDAQ did pretty good too. And you can see that across some of the semiconductors. I'll show you that as well. This is my friend Seth Golden. I wanted to point this out because he is looking at market breadth. Everybody likes to talk about market breadth as a bearish thing. He took a look at this from the S&P 1500 against the advanced decline lines and said, hey, we actually look like we've started to see a breakout. And this is like, for the first time in years since the pandemic, basically. And I think that that's a very important thing to note. So I wanted to make sure I covered that on here. We are seeing market breadth expansion, whether people realize it or not. Just depends on how you're viewing it. And again, I actually think it's probably a good thing that we're seeing the fear and greed index cooling off again, and that we're, about midway into the greed. And if we saw another down day, even just like a grind where we did some dip buying again tomorrow, or even, I don't know, maybe it persists throughout the week with this sell-off, I'm perfectly okay with that. Happy to buy into it. And if we look here, and honestly, I would have no problem getting back to neutral. That wouldn't bother me a bit, or at least fall out of greed for a second and then come back up. And I do like still, I just wanted to point here on the timeline, I like the fact that, you can see when you're just continue to climb, that's kind of the concerning part where it just keeps grinding up, and then it just falls off a cliff for the fear and greed. But what we've been doing here is we're actually in kind of a decline, but we're finding higher lows in the greed. So it really seems like we're still looking at this as being bullish and as continuation. And I like that from a macro perspective. Now, one thing I wanted to point out again, I love Capital Wars is a book I've read a while ago. It's from Cross Border Capital, Michael Howell. He's the guy I followed for the last, year plus in regard to global liquidity. And I just wanted to post this as a reminder for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. We are in the start of a global liquidity cycle that reached its bottom like at the end of 2022 and started to turn up. And this has played out. If you follow these lines, it might be off sometimes by a year, but it really does a good job. And it doesn't always peak and trough, but it really does a good job of predicting global liquidity going back, 50 plus years, all the way back to the 60s. So, and it says that we're going to still see an up cycle for the next year and a half, roughly, to 2 years, which is great. That actually coincides really well with Bitcoin's normal peaks. So we could see this peak in global liquidity about the time that Bitcoin would normally peak. And I like the way that stars are lining up on that. Also, I don't want to steal too much of Michael's work here because he has a paid for service. So I won't go into this last weekly update, but I did want to at least show you one chart. And if you guys like this, again, like you can go to Capital Wars Substack and you can pay for a subscription with him. But what I wanted to show here is that global liquidity, at least recently here, the 3-month annualized, we can see that it's started to tick down. Now, by ticking down, it's not as high as it was. So it was up to about 14%, and now it's like at 7.5%. But we're still in expansion, and that's a positive thing for global liquidity right now. So I'm still liking that from a macro perspective. All right. And then the inflation data from Trueflation, it was revised to where it was at a higher base based upon a number of things that were corrected on it, but it's still showing decline. And so I wanted to point that out as well. So we're still seeing inflation going down. From an economic standpoint, for data, there was none today. We just got nothing. So, but that will be picking up on Thursday. So we should see something. Nothing tomorrow again, just some Fed speech. It looks like FOMC minutes, so that'll probably be the highlight of the day. And then Thursday is the big day. That's where we get initial jobless claims and just a bunch of PMI-related information, home sales. It should be a pretty decent day for economic data. Also, reminder, tomorrow, you probably don't need a reminder, NVIDIA earnings. Everybody's going to be focused on that. I will not be. I'm probably going to do Rivian earnings and maybe I'll probably just continue to do the market recap, cover some stuff real quick while we wait for Rivian and NVIDIA earnings to come out. We'll hop over to NVIDIA and just see what people are saying and see how much it's moving and see if it's moving the markets. But I'm not going to cover the call because there's a ton of people already doing that. I want to focus on Rivian and see how well they do. So that's what I'll be doing along with the market recap tomorrow. Real quickly, oil. I told you I thought it would start coming back down. It's finally starting to do that again. It looks like it crossed underneath the 50 moving average on the weekly. That's the purple one. Again, for people who don't know it, the purple line is the 50 moving average, the yellow line is the 100, and the dark orange line is the 200. What I think we're going to see happen here is I think we're going to see oil start to break down, get closer to that 200 that's been curving up for a while now, and break underneath of it. Because I don't think the risks in the Red Sea and the two wars that we have going on, major wars, are going to be that big of a deal. Now, if we go to war with China, that could change things. But I don't see it coming. Dollar was pretty mild today. Just sideways chop with a little bit down. That's perfectly good. I like seeing that. Now, I'm going to jump to Bitcoin-related stuff. So I wanted to point this chart out. I posted this today, too. I thought this was really important for people to look at. And somebody requested the gold chart, so I'm going to pull that up, too. But you need to pay attention to the fact that Bitcoin ETF aggregate flows are going up like crazy, and at the same time, you're seeing gold falling down. I think that's a pattern you're going to continue to see. Now, it doesn't mean gold can't go higher. It just means that it's going to be neutered, and a lot of that's going to go to Bitcoin. So make sure you're thinking about that. If you're somebody who's hedging with a bunch of gold and think you're going to find a great opportunity there, you might find a whole lot of nothing or just minimized returns from what you expected. So, all right, in Bitcoin, heck of a bounce today. I like it. So we climbed higher and we chopped down, but we got a really nice bounce and close after hours here. And technically, Bitcoin isn't like the stock market. Its close is going to come later today. I can't remember if we're 7 p.m. now or 6. It shifts when the times change, but so Bitcoin's not done yet. Bitcoin's still got a ways to go. So we'll see where we land. but we are above peak volumes on this lower time frame here on the 4-hour, and it's looking pretty good. The setup doesn't look bad. It looks like we're going to still try to continue higher. All right, real quickly, altcoins. Altcoins took a beating today. I did a video yesterday in regard to Ethereum. I really highly suggest you guys take a look at that. It's something where I think there's great opportunity there. I think the ETFs, the 7 ETFs that could get approved at the latest, 98 days from now, is a really strong narrative, just like we saw with Bitcoin narrative, or the Bitcoin ETF narrative. So I think that's a strong positive. And again, there's just other things going on. This EIP 4844, I think it is, where they're going to be, it's like proto-dank sharding, where they're going to be making it to where the fees for like layer 2 solutions are going to be an order of magnitude lower. I think that's a really good play too. And I think there's just a bunch of positives behind Ethereum that are going to drive it higher. I could really see maybe regular altcoins outside of some of these layer 2 solutions for Ethereum maybe taking a little bit of a hit as Bitcoin and Ethereum climb higher, and then maybe Ethereum layer 2s. That's kind of my thought. And maybe Solana takes a breather too. We'll see. Ones with smaller market caps, if people get hyped up, can still go higher. But I think that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Bitcoin and Ethereum have the spotlight for a while. And Ethereum's the third the market cap of Bitcoin, so it has a ways it can run. All right, let me hop over here. So again, I just wanted to show the semis. Super microcomputer. Again, this thing had the air busted out of it, down 36% in a short period of time. But today it got a bid. Today it bounced actually pretty good. And you can see some of this with NVIDIA at the end of the day too. Not as much. But I think people are being more cautious on that one. And this one just, it was due for a bruising. So maybe we'll see more downside tomorrow. We'll see. Oh, that's not it. So let's do this. So I will start pulling up charts here. I'm going to start with some of my favorite stuff, and then we'll go into requests, okay? So just give me a second here. Don't throw out too many requests. Let's just wait a bit. Let me see. Where do I want to start? Let's start with SoFi. I like that one the most. We got to look at PayPal. I don't love the way PayPal closed, but I don't care too much either. I'm going to keep buying. Now, SoFi actually looks good. This looks like that 3 white soldiers pattern where it's set to go higher. And I love this chart right now. So not only have we had divergence to the upside going all the way back to April of 2022. So you got almost 2 years of divergence going upwards. And then on the RSI and then the MACD having that recently too, and looking like it's curling up for a run. But now we can see that we're above. This is played out exactly like I was talking about. So you can see this downward resistance line at first failed and we went underneath of it. But then we came back up. We tested back down to it again. It turned it into support, got above the .618, turned that into support. And now we're above pretty much all the peak volume. We just got to get above the .786. And then it's off to the moon, in my opinion. We could do 1170. We could do 14. All these things would be reachable. So I think, I don't know, I'm excited. I think this is a good setup on SoFi. I think the narrative has become really, really positive on SoFi. And if there's one thing you'll realize from me over time is that I believe narratives are key drivers for stock price and momentum. And narratives can shift on a dime. And when it happens, you start making a lot of money if you're early and you can predict that narrative. And that's what I try to do. Real quickly here, I'm going to pull up some other fintechs. All right, I think Hood had a good day. Hood's up to some good. All right, let me see here real quick. So let me just take a look. So we did close under the fib still. I would have liked to have closed above it. So we're still hitting this as resistance. Let me look at the 4-hour. But I still like what I'm seeing. Look at this. This previous resistance line that goes all the way back here to like April of 2022 as well. You can see where we crossed above it a couple times here, couldn't establish a base above it, crossed above it again, failed, broke down. Now we've crossed above it and we're establishing a base. If we can continue that, maybe even a little bit of grind here above that, and then break above this next fib extension, I think we're off to the races, and I think we could see 17 in short order. I'm really liking the setup right now for Hood. And I love, honestly, I posted about this earlier, I love the way the fintechs performed today. Well, maybe outside of PayPal. PayPal continues to get a beating, but I think that's coming to an end too. We'll look at that one in a sec. But I do love the fact that Hood was up today. I love the fact that SoFi was up, 1.5%, almost 2% today, especially the way the markets were performing. Very impressed with what they were able to do today. All right, real quick, let's pull up PayPal. The bane of my existence as of late. Let me see here. My worst trade in the last 2 years. But it's still going to be my best. That's the way I look at it. I try to make sure I win no matter what. At least the majority of the time. Okay, so what I wanted to point out here, let me see how we ended the day. I think we were underneath the line. No, hey. Hey. Sweet. I think we're above. Let me see here real quick. Oh, no, I can't see it there. I think we might have actually closed above the 200 or the 100 moving average. We did. Okay, so that's nice. So for the 4th day in a row, we found a base above the 100 moving average. We'll see if we can maintain that. It's kind of hard to see what we're doing here on this pattern, but I like the fact that we're finding a little bit of support over here. Let's see if we can keep doing it. I'm happy, though, that we're above the 100. I thought we were going to be below that, so that's cool. All right, one sec here. I'm going to pull up Square, and then I'm going to pull up ARKG real quick. Just go through my base for all the ones that I talk about and have in my portfolio so that people can get a quick update, and then we'll jump over to other things that you guys want to see. Again, Square, I'm loving what I'm seeing across all these fintech charts, man. We're above the fib. We're above peak volumes here, and we've been grinding there while the 50 on the daily is curling over. And I think that this is a continuation pattern. I think it's going to try and push back up to the 73 range. So I'm excited about this. I'd buy more of this, but I'm still up way too much on my calls to be able to buy in and enter more. But I like what I'm seeing here. It's like, yeah, on this weekly time frame too. And this thing's still pretty oversold. I mean, we're 77% off the highs. And you can see on the 100 on the weekly how it's been pushing it down, but it's not going down. And I love that setup. I love the volume over here. I think we're going higher. All right, real quick here, pull up ARKG. Come on, ARKG. At least I'm getting these charts saved. This will be cool for us. This will be good stuff. All right, let me make sure I have this. I've got to double check some of my charts. Oh, no, that's not the wrong one. Okay, good. Log. Sweet. ARKG, kind of mixed today. Nothing really showing continuation strength yet. I really want to see us get above the 31.77, 32 range would be ideal. If we can get above 32, where on the weekly we're above the 50, and I guess we did find a base on the 50. That's not bad. Yeah, that's probably not bad. 2 days in a row on the 50, or 2 weeks in a row. Let me go back to the daily. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row on the 50 moving average, we have found a base. I would like to see that continue. I'd like to get above the 100. If we could do that, we're probably off to the races. But I'd like to see us, again, just grinding higher and getting above peak volume. If we get above 33, that would be ideal, because then we'll have this big volume shelf underneath of us. All right, real quick, I'm gonna pull up Tesla, because I'm kind of happy how that one did today too, especially since I bought a bunch. Hood should hurt 13 before it gets to 15. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't see it. But hey, good luck. Here, I'll give you a heart. Hope that works out for you. All right, so Tesla, again, we got a little baby bump, and this could be, don't get me wrong, we could be bear flagging, right? We still haven't fully closed the gap on the daily moving average here. We got a nice bounce today, and it stayed above peak volumes. But if I go all the way out, there's actually there's a ton of volume. There's a ton of stuff going on in this range, and we're not quite above it yet. We'd really need to get above 196 and start turning that into support to really start to make another move higher. So I don't know. Tesla could go lower, and if it does, I'm going to be as happy as can be. I would love for this to be a bear flag and for it to test down to 165. Heck, if it could get to 146, I would be stoked. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's going to. Fundamentally, I just don't think it's going to. I think we'll be too close to rate cuts and the narrative shifting. And again, they set really low expectations in their last conference call, just like PayPal and Alex Chris, who shocked the world with, telling everybody that their stock is going to suck for a year. So I don't know. I think expectations are low on both of these, and I like that. All right, real quick here. I'm going to pull up Rivian too and just show you guys the setup on that one since we have the conference call tomorrow. If you guys didn't watch my Rivian video, you should, I think. This is one where this is more of a speculative bet for me. The stock, this company still burns money. We'll go into all the stuff here. But here's what I like. I like the fact that we're finding support over here above the inverse head and shoulders that we broke out from. We did our measured move and then some. Then we're grinding down here. But I like this where we got this rising broadening wedge, which you want to see, and then we're above peak volume and we're turning that into support. I love that setup. This is the 3 days, so it's a little weird. There isn't a lot of signal you can get out of that. And the chart history isn't that long, so we probably should, let's go to the daily. So you can see where we have a lot of intertwining moving averages from the 50 to the 200 right up here. I'll feel really good about this if we have a good earnings. These guys usually beat. You can see this over on the right. If we have a good earnings where God willing, they burn less than $1 billion for the quarter. Again, they've got about 2 years worth of runway. Amazon is their biggest stakeholder. They've also got contracts with them for work. And then they have their new R2 that they're going to be talking about in March that they're going to do the official reveal of. But it won't be made until like 2026 or something like that. But they've got a lot of things. They're getting higher production volume. They're doing way better than other companies like, Lucid or Fisker or this other crap that's out there. Whether you like the cars or not, they're just doing way better. And so this is a long shot, but I think there's a lot of money to be made in this long shot because it can go up 200% in short order if the stars start to align. And I look at this, I love Tesla. These guys to me are like 10% of Tesla as far as market cap potential. That's all I look at them as. Obviously not an AI play of any kind. And they just aren't Tesla. I mean, they're not an energy company. They're missing a lot of stuff. All right, real quick. I'm going to pull up Palantir. And this one I talked about earlier today. I think it's going to continue to get beat up a little bit. Let's see. It did close above the previous line of support. That's probably a good thing. If we could get back up above 24.50 and start turning that into support, maybe we could see some continuation higher here. Otherwise, though, if we drop underneath this line, the support line, then I would expect us, like I said, to go to like 21. And then potentially if macro doesn't hold, we could try and close this gap over here. All right, real quickly, I'm going to pull up the Ethereum chart. I want to touch on this real quick because I love this setup, man. I love it. And again, you guys got to watch my Ethereum video. It's well worth your time. So, oh yeah, we're about to break 3,000. Look at that, dude. So I've been saying that this thing's going to scream. I think in short order, we're going to break 4,000. I don't even know if that takes a week. And you guys need to understand the CIP that's getting deployed here on March. It's coming up real quick. It's only like 2 weeks away, and they're going to deploy, or 3 weeks away, and they're going to deploy this thing. And fees are going to be much cheaper. And the narrative behind Ethereum, again, narratives are like waves in the ocean. They'll be really negative for a long time, and people will say, nothing's gonna happen. This company sucks, or this investment sucks, and it's not worth our time. Everybody loves this thing over here, and they all focus on that. And then all it takes are catalysts. And we've got catalysts. We've got the Ethereum ETFs that are probably going to get approved, and that'll happen within 3 months, 3.5 months. Yeah, I'll look up HIMS for sure. And then you have that EIP that I'm talking about. And then you have the fact that this is really kind of went nowhere recently. It's just kind of chopped for months and months and months. And we're not much higher than we were. Even going back to like April of 23, that's 10 months ago. And we were in the 2100 range. We're like 29 now for crypto standards. That's nothing. So this thing's due to play catch up. And that's how it works, man. Bitcoin's been grinding hard. Bitcoin will go up. Then it's usually Ethereum. It hasn't been that way lately. It was Solana. But Solana ran up so much, and these other altcoins have run up so much. I think it's Ethereum's going to take the spotlight. There's just too many fundamental reasons why. So watch that video and understand why this could make you a lot of money in a short period of time. All right, let's look at some key levels real quick with just a couple of the miners. 1 second here, and then we'll jump into the other things. And I'll start with HIMS because you were waiting patiently. All right, CLSK. Yeah, we'll get to a bunch of charts. Don't throw out too many just yet, because I gotta play catch up with the ones that have already been announced here. All right, so CleanSpark, again, this was down like 12% today. It had a nice little drop. Still fighting up against that fib. I said when we got up here that there was a chance, looking at the daily here, that we're getting rejected off of it. And that's exactly what happened. And we just went down. Nothing too crazy here. I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to continue to go higher. And I think that maybe we grind a little bit lower for a day or two. But I think we're going up, man. I think we're going up. So I think today was a good dip buying opportunity. And I'm sure a lot of the other charts look that way too. Let me just look real quick. I'll just pull up Bitfarms real fast, since that's another one I'm following. Yeah, this one only down 4% on the day for Bitfarms, and then it's up 0.3% after hours. Not bad at all. It couldn't even get it up to the .618. But I think this one has another similar pattern. It looks like a bull flag. If you just draw it out here, it looks like a bull flag. It says, let's go. And we like it when it says, let's go. All right. Let me see here. We're going to start with HIMS now. I don't know if I have this one. If I don't, oh, hey, maybe I do. Let's see. It's got to be from the way back. All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, boy, this one had a low, man. Jeez. April 2022, you could buy this thing for $2. That was nice. So we've already had a pretty decent bounce on HIMS, I gotta say. I might just pull up this one to look at the fundamentals real quick with visual stocks. Let me get over here, and then we'll go back to the chart. And this is kind of what we do for anybody who's new here. We roll through the macro. We talk about news-related events. I hit my portfolio too, and we kind of cover all the big things, and then we start to whittle our way down. I go over the charts that I talk about commonly, and then we start pulling up charts that people request. That way we can get an idea together as a group if we like certain investments and what the opportunities are. Of course, since it's my channel, you get my opinion overriding, but people in chat can certainly say stuff too. All right, so HIMS, revenue's going up, cool. Net income, I wish it was positive. It looks like they're kind of flatlining here, and at last quarter it actually dipped and got just a little bit worse. But hopefully, let me see what their estimates are. Their estimates are higher revenue and still slightly negative EPS, EBIT. So I wish operating expenses were getting better. I wish this was better. But part of it's R&D. I don't mind R&D. I don't mind R&D. So if we subtract R&D, the pace that it's going up is a little bit lower, which is good. Their cash, I like the fact that the cash is starting to increase over the last few quarters since Q4 2022. So you got about a year of positive cash. You don't have any debt. You don't have a lot of share dilution. That's probably good. I like the fact that cash flow is going up over here. I just would really like to see net income. I mean, 57% revenue growth year over year isn't bad. And let's see what else they got here. Again, operating leverage, you can see how the revenue is starting to outpace the operating expenses. That's good. I'd like to see more of that. Stock-based comp isn't totally crazy. It could get lower. There's been a lot of stock that's been issued on this one over time. But again, if we go back to the chart, I don't know. I'd like to see what we do here. I'd like to honestly see us get above $10 and establish that as a base. If we did that, then I think we could see 13.50 up to this next fib level at least, or an attempt at least at 1240. So somewhere between 1240 and 1350. But again, this one's already done really well. So unless you have, but I don't know this company well. I don't follow the men's products very much. I know my friend Adam does, but I don't know how active he is on his channel. Adam, I don't know if you're in chat, but this thing got up to 356%. This kind of reminds me of Palantir, right? Like, it's done well. This hasn't sucked already. So I don't know how much short-term upside you're going to have unless you're aware of catalysts that just rock. If there's a bunch of stuff that just rocks and, it's a no-brainer, then cool. Then maybe put some more money into it or stay in it. But if you don't know about any catalysts or don't think that there's going to be any, then maybe this is kind of played out. Maybe you should be more in crypto, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice. Got the thing down at the bottom. Read that. All right, let me make a copy here. I'm going to pull up Lemonade next because somebody requested that, and I'll just start rolling down the line, trying to look at chat when I can. All right, let me get this. Oh, and some of these also, too, I'm building up my library of charts. So, again, as we learn together, interesting. I like the chart setup. We got to look at the financials on this one, but let me draw a trend-based fib extension first. But I like this setup. Thank you for bringing it up. What am I doing? God, I'm tired. Sorry, I went out last night. A friend had his 40th birthday. I'm a little groggy today. I'm not going to lie. All right. So I like this. Look at this. We're grinding right between peak volumes and the .382, and we have the 100 moving average that we've just been grinding up against. From a technical level, this looks like a quick trip to 21, in my opinion. But let's look at the fundamentals because those are going to what's matters the most. It looks like they do. Looks like they do hit earnings a lot. I don't know a lot about Lemonade. I know people talked about it forever and it got butchered. It was a high flyer, but I like the revenue growth. Gosh, that was a nice little bump last quarter. Net income sucks. Burning 61 million. Operating expenses are starting to flatten out. Cash is burning down. Dilution is high. Cash flow got a little better last quarter. High revenue growth. These guys got to turn a profit, though. They just can't be burning money the way they're burning it. I don't know if any of you know why they're burning so much money. Oh, maybe it's all the stock-based comp. Maybe you guys could pay those guys less. Make them do some work. Yeah, I don't love the sheer amount of issuance. It's probably one of the things that's been holding the stock down. They could have great incentive for this to do well. I do like over here, though, again, the revenue now is above the operating expenses. It's been that way for a few quarters, about 3 now. That's good. Let's see what estimates are. Estimates are for revenue to go up, for net income to start to slow in its decline. But again, how much cash do they have? Ugh. So I see a lot more dilution in the future. So I wouldn't look at this for a momentum-based play. This might be one where you want to buy some stock. I personally would, if you're going to step into calls or something, maybe make them 2026, and I would do it slowly. Do it slowly because they could still. I don't know. I've got conflicting narratives here. This looks like it wants to break out higher, just looking at this technical chart. But when I'm looking at the fundamentals, I really want to see less burn. So if they did good, when is their earnings? Oh, real quick. Okay, so earnings could have dramatic impact in the next week when their earnings call happens. I might even be interested in doing this one. I'm gonna make a note about that. Yeah, I'll make a note after this. I might actually get on this earnings so I can find out more about this company because I love the chart setup. And I'm very curious to see if they start doing better on some of these numbers, like, you know, negative net income and slowing down on share dilution, because they need to stop issuing so much in shares and stock-based comp. If they just did a few things like that and tightened up the balance sheet a little bit, this might be interesting. And look at that, 32% short interest. What the fuck? Okay, so this thing could be a lightning rod. If they report slightly better with 32% short interest, that could get interesting. Biggest stakeholder, SoftBank. All right, man. I'm gonna keep this on my short list. Thank you for that one. All right, let me scroll down here real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Cheers. Hope you had a good weekend. New Walmart bought Vizio. Yeah. Walmart bought Vizio. Cox $1 billion suit dropped and dismissed. Capital One buying Discover. That's an interesting one. My friend Tanner with Future Invest, I think he's going to be doing a video on Capital One buying Discover. I'm going to watch that. You guys should too. He's my favorite fintech guy. Celsius. Yeah, let's check Celsius. Up next. And sorry I'm not totally caught up with chat. I want to be, but you know, I'm still trying to adjust to all this. This is a ridiculous stock. I know everybody loves this drink, and I keep saying that I'm going to get it, but I don't know if I could long this just because, or if you made a shit ton of money, maybe take a little bit in profit. How far back am I going? Oh, that's the way back. We don't want to judge it by that. That's too far back. Let's look at something a little more relevant and recent. Let's just go from... Wow, these guys really got popular, didn't they? June of 2022. So we got 382% upside. That's a lot. And I'm just going to remind myself, we'll do this one real quick because I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it. Yeah, I can draw a fib real quick. I'll save that too. I should just get this set up in case I want to look at it again in the future. To clean it up a little bit. The top. Okay, so I should actually, here, I want to draw it here. Sorry, doing this in real time. Because we really, this is what I should be drawing off of. That's close. All right, so we're hitting this fib, the .786, and we're grinding up against it. It looks like we could get further upside, but we are seeing, I don't know if I could call that divergence. The weekly, we are seeing some on the MACD. Yeah, we are kind of seeing some divergence to the downside. Let me look at this real quick, and then we'll move on. Yeah, wicked revenue growth. But can they maintain it? 104% year over year. Net incomes are positive. That's pretty great. Low, like dilution, but not a ton. Massive cash position, 760 mil. I mean, not massive, but for them, it's not bad. And operating expenses were getting high there for some reason, but they're maintaining. Cash flow is good. I mean, it looks like a good company. PE ratio is 97. I don't know what the industry standard is for this. That's probably a little rich. I think everybody loves these guys right now, so they're super popular. I always worry. I wouldn't do options or anything like that with these guys because whenever you have the super popular stock, it just, there's so much interest that you can really get wrecked if you just go in and try and like go long thinking you're going to make a bunch of money. Options, when I do options, guys, you're going to figure out something real quick. I do it when nobody cares, based off the fact that I think a narrative is going to change it in the future. So that's the time you can get in and make a bunch of money. Let me see here. CLSK, I can already hear my friends. Dang, I should have bought the dip on CLSK yesterday and last week. Yeah, could have bought some today. Down 11, 12%. That was yummy. All right, SE. Let me see what SE. Oh, don't have that one. Let me make a copy. And if you do your ticker symbols too with a dollar in front of it, it helps me understand that yes, it is in fact a stock that you're trying to look at. Huh, this is an interesting setup. C Limited. What are these guys? Something to do with the ocean? Retail trade, department stores. Oh, okay. Never heard of this place. Let me look here real quick. Let me do the fib. It is an interesting setup though. It looks like one of those that got butchered. I'm just going to draw it back here. 2018. It's not too far back. Established a strong base. I like where the 200's at. It's way up there. That's cool. But what are their financials doing? I think their financials might be a train wreck. If you know anything about this one, let me go back down here to provide more color. Let me know. Yeah, I don't love that. Look at that. Just flat revenues. Just flat. Nothing. Net income went up, positive. Then it dipped back down. Kind of sucks. Operating expenses are kind of all over the place. Started to go up again. Cash is burning. Debt is not. Shares outstanding started to go down last quarter. Revenue growth was 5%. Not a lot of revenue growth. 26, 27 multiple. Operating leverage is still good on this one as far as like revenue and operating expense. They're not doing a lot of stock-based comp. Revenue per employee has improved. I don't know what these guys do, but yeah, even look at the estimates going forward. It's like they're not looking to make a lot of money. So I don't love this one. I mean, it seems like until they get some good news, it could grind down here for a while. I probably wouldn't be interested in options. If you like the company and know some stuff I would probably get stock with it personally. All right, let me see here. Moving on. SE, Hood, Palantir, SoFi. I did all those already. Okay, going down. HNST, I don't know what that is. Let me take a look. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have that one. HNST. And also, if you guys ask for stocks and you have like a particular bit of information you want to include that you think would be helpful as far as like it's an obscure one. Oh, the Honest Company. Okay, this is one I think Jeremy or somebody, Jeremy Lefave talks about. Ooh, I like that we're above this volume shelf. Here, let me I can't do a trend-based fib extension because this one has just the only trend was down. So, but I can do this. Okay, so I don't hate this massive climb on the weekly, finding support above the 100, just skipping the 50. Didn't even give an F. Just like whatever, moved right past it. Went above the 100, said, okay, maybe I should take a breather. Now it's grinding up, and it's above all the volume. All the volume. This is another one. You guys are giving me good stuff, man. I gotta start making notes here. All right, so I'm gonna let's pull this one up too. I want to see what the fundamentals look like on this one because this is interesting. Revenue growth isn't really much though, so this one's really beat up. PE ratio -6. So these guys have been bleeding money for a while. So the chart setup looks great. What's the market cap on these guys? Oh, 326 million. So it's not much. Let me see here. Operating expenses are starting to come down. Share dilution is like, a little bit of revenue. I do like this last 3 quarters with the net income. If they could pull this off again where they're not bleeding 8 million, and that's not even a huge amount, but they don't have a lot of cash, right? So I don't want them to dilute more shares. But I do like the cash flows going positive. This isn't, gosh, I'd be really curious to know like what their guidance is. Operating in, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I don't know a lot of news. It doesn't look like their revenues are going up a lot though. I don't know. It looks like it could go up. The chart looks like it could go up, but we need to see some fundamentals that show like an increase in revenue, or I don't know if they have a new product or anything that looks good that might help them out. Honest earnings are coming up. Yep. Okay. So yeah, if they do good on earnings, they're, from a technical perspective, they're set to fly. But how high can they go? I think they'd be capped at like $6 or underneath, right around the 580. Now that's not a bad move. If you know that they're going to have a really good earnings, this might not be a bad play at all. And it'd be something that you probably want to check out. I'm going to save that one, though. Again, I don't see anything remarkable about their finances that show that they're just doing great. But we do have slight trends to the upside. And again, net income looking better. So there's some good signs. There's some good signs. I don't hate it. All right, let me see what else we got here. MDB. I'm going to pull that one up real quick. I don't know if that's one I already have. I don't think I do. So I'm just going to jot it down. All right, we're building out this database, guys, and then I'll get more familiar with these things. MongoDB. Okay, cool. All right, this one's already kind of done a lot. Not super interested in this. Just glancing at it. I mean, could it break out and go higher? I mean, technically, this could be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we could get a measure move a lot higher. Really need to see the finances on this one. Let me look at that before we get too far on this. Let's just look at that. What was that again? MDB. Okay. I know I've heard of these guys, but I've never really paid much attention to them. But they've already run a lot. Ooh, I do like this. I like the revenue going up. I like that net income was like the peak. Q2 of 2022, was the worst of it. But look at that. These guys actually look like they might go positive. That's cool. I like the fact that their cash flow is getting higher, or their cash is getting higher, and they've got some decent cash flow. I like the fact that the operating expenses look like they're starting to peak outside of R&D. If you go back a year, it looks like expenses are pretty much there, except they've still been spending a decent amount in R&D. So that's kind of flat. I like that. 30% revenue growth year over year, not a bad number. Stock-based comp is high, 26% of revenue. That's a lot. But again, operating the revenue versus OpEx looks good. What are their estimates? All right, so revenue is still going to trickle up a little bit, and their EPS is guiding towards positive. Okay. What does this look like down here? Tons of institutional investors. Virtually no retail. Nobody gives a shit about this. That's interesting. Retail loves to FOMO into stuff later. The fact that there is no retail is interesting. No major short interest, so we're not going to get a pump off of that. All the standard guys for the institutional ownership. So this is probably like an ETF play. Everybody with their ETFs is in this, but retail isn't even paying attention. This might be interesting, actually. Let me do a quick fib-based trend extension on this one real quick. So I'm drawing from the previous major low to the next high to the recent low. I like that we're above the .618. That's the golden retracement zone. So getting above that and turning that into support would be really interesting. When are their earnings? Earnings are coming real fast. I don't know. I don't know what to think on this. It looks good. It looks like this is something retail could get interested in, but it's also already run a lot. So I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know what to think of this. I like it. I like the company. They look like they're doing well. $32 billion market cap. What was the revenue numbers? 432. Yeah, I don't know. Going positive, if they can get net income to positive this earnings, we could see a pop on this one. I'm going to save it. All right, what else we got here? Let me just see. Goog. I'll pull up Goog real quick. I should have that one. All right, and we don't need to talk about what this company does. I think like all the other ones, I think we could go higher in Goog. We might grind a little bit. Maybe we get up to the 160 range or something. But I do think that we're going to eventually start rolling over. We've got bearish divergence here that started in May of 2023 on the RSI. You can see where it was slightly higher then. MACD is seeing some of that too. I don't know, man. I think we're at a time right now where these big caps, if you made a ton of money off of them and you haven't taken anything off the table to try and look for other opportunities that are extremely oversold, I don't think that's the right play. I personally would be looking at other opportunities. All right, let me see. TX, Texas Roadhouse, is that what that is? I don't remember if I pulled that one up already. Let me see if I have it. Nope, I do not. Let's make one. TX what? TXRH. Yeah, okay, cool. Good guess on that one. Oof. Did we already have earnings on this one or something? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on this one, man. It looks like they did good. I mean, it's moved up a lot already. Let me just see. We got a huge gap here. I don't love that. That's just such a huge gap. I don't know what their earnings look like. Let me just take a look here real quick. TXRH. So we're looking at a $10 billion market cap. They got tons of debt. Very little cash. They have been buying back shares. Their operating expenses don't change much. This isn't going to be a big grower, but they did get 15%. Their net income's positive. They're making about 72 million, 70 whatever a quarter. That's cool. Positive cash flow. That's cool. Stock-based comp is not bad. I like the fact that their revenue continues to go up and their operating expenses remain the same. Forward estimates are higher revenue for the next couple of quarters, and EPS is even higher. Wow. That's cool. So that looks good outside of the debt. But again, if they're making a bunch of money and they've got cash and their operating expenses aren't going up, that might not mean much. They got a dividend. People love dividend plays. But again, the RSI is at like 83. That is rich on the daily. Let's see what it is on the weekly. Oh, yeah, it's 82 on the weekly. It's the highest RSI this company has ever seen on the weekly time frame. I don't know, man. If you made a bunch of money off of this and you owned it, I would probably do like covered calls or something so you can make some income, because I don't think we're going higher than like the 150s unless the market just gets stupid irrational. But that might be a way for you to make some money on income off of it, or maybe even just sell and start diversifying into other stuff. That would be my take if I was the person doing it. All right, PGY. Let me take a look. Oh, I do have it. Cool. See, we're going to get quicker at this stuff. All right. Oh, Pagaya. I haven't looked at these guys in ages. Yeah. Oof, take all this stuff away. They definitely got neutered with the rest of Fintech and brutalized. Yeah, but boy, did it make it. It did good, though, right? It went up 400%. Had a really great rush into like that August time frame, and then just got butchered again. But the good thing is we're finding support on peak volumes, and we still got this just ridiculous daily gap on this one. If Fintech does well, gosh, I might be getting interested in this again. You guys just keep getting me into stuff, don't you? All right. All right, let's look at the financials on this one and see how we're doing. This is a play. I exited this one. I don't even remember where I exited it. It's like probably like over here by the .5 or something. I gave up on it and just moved on and refocused my energy on other stuff. But I know other people did better for a while there than I did because they hung on a little bit longer. Now, revenue continues to improve. Net income could actually, I mean, it's teasing towards profitability, right? Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to look it up. They have a lot of debt. I don't like the fact that the debt is getting higher. They're starting to dilute more shares. Operating expenses are maintaining fine. Got some positive cash flow last quarter. Let's look at other charts here. Revenues are doing better than operating expenses. Good. Here, one sec. So, and they look like they're getting real close to being net positive. I don't know if I'd go in with an options play. If I did, I'd have to look at the chain, and I'd probably still shoot for like 2026 right now if I was touching this thing with options. But maybe stock is safe. I don't know a lot more about the company from a fundamental level. I haven't checked them out in a while. But again, a lot more dilution these last few quarters than what they were doing before. They were kind of maintaining. But interesting. I'd like to see revenue growth year over year, 9%. $972 million market cap. But again, they're down so much from their high. After hours, these guys popped 3.85%. They were flat on the day. So they're already going up in after hours. When's earnings? Ooh, tomorrow. Is that right? So they're getting some hype heading into earnings. Might be a little bit later on this one. It would have been better to look it up like last week. But we'll see. If earnings are post-market, are they? Let me check real quick and see if it says on here. Earnings date, February 21st. I'll have to figure out if this is post or pre. This might be an interesting play. I'd be really interested to see what the options chain looks like for January on this one. I might do some additional digging. And if I find something really interesting with this, I'm going to look at a couple of these plays that we've talked about, like Lemonade, a few others that might be interesting around earnings. I don't like playing things around earnings at all. But this is pretty fascinating with how bad it's been beat up again from that 290 range all the way down to a $130 again. And it's above peak volume. I like that. And they're guiding for getting close to almost positive on earnings. I don't know. Might be interesting. I know they do a lot of work. I think these guys do work with SoFi too. But yeah, this is interesting. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here. Any opinion on PGY? I'm still holding a few. 117.2025. Yeah, you might be okay. Yeah, so you might be okay on those, man. Because if these guys get some of the earnings results, because look at this. They went to $3 before back in July of 2023, about the time all that stuff was doing well. And around that time, their earnings were lower and they're guiding even higher. And July of 2023, like we're guiding towards better net income than we had then too. The only thing that I don't love is the debt. I don't love the debt being a little bit high here and not having a ton of cash and having to dilute more. But you might be all right on this one. I think that if the economy does hold up and we don't get some crazy macro stuff, I think we could actually see a climb in this one, at least an attempt to $2, which would be a better exit on those than, where you are right now. Because it does seem like it's got some steam behind it. And earnings have done pretty good this quarter across the board. So I don't know. I think you stand a chance there, bro. All right, Bros. Oh, nice segue into the next one. Bro, let's go check out Bros. I don't think I have this one, so I'm going to make a copy. So, Bros. Yeah, the good thing is, as I become more familiar with these, and as we do more of this, and I draw out the charts, it won't take so much time to do all the busy work. Oof, this thing's been beat up. Hate this chart. Kind of hate it. Kind of hate that we're below these volumes. We'd love to be above that, but it's just been butchered. What has happened to this company? Let me look over here and see what their fundamentals, because this is just so whacked. I need to understand why. Wow, revenues. I expected this to look way shittier, honestly. Oh, it's the debt. It's the debt. They got a lot of debt, and they don't have a lot of cash, so they're diluting shares. So, but, what is going on here? What is stock-based comp as a percent of revenue? 4%, not crazy. Operating revenues are going up. Operating expenses aren't really going up. Estimates are a little bit of chop to up, so they're not super high estimates for like forward guidance. But yeah, I don't know. Their net income, they're actually started making a little bit of money. Short interest is 13%. Decent amount of institutional ownership. Woof. TSG Consumer Partners has a what? What? I don't understand this company. This number's got to be broken. I need to understand this better. I'll make a note to look it up and try and see if I can, because I don't get that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. 94% stake, but then we have others. Yeah, I don't know. I need to understand that better. So 33% growth. So it looks, some of this looks good. I don't like the debt. I don't totally understand the institutional ownership stuff. But it looks intriguing, actually. It looks actually kind of interesting. I'm going to do a fib-based trend extension real quick here. I'm going to draw it to here, and to here, and then back to here. Yeah, it's just been a constant downward move, hasn't it? So I don't know exactly when we're going to pop on this one, but it seems like there might be some reason to. Yeah, look at this. So we did go above. I'm just going to count it from here since that's like the most relevant downward trend line. So we need to get above it. We're below the 100. We're below the 200. We're below the 50. All of them are curled under here. If we got above 28, I would actually be excited and think that we could at least make a run to test 32 to 33. And earnings are happening. So this would be interesting. Not really my jam. Don't know enough about it. But if you know a lot about this company, it looks like the setup might be good for a pop. Love the Ethereum video. I'm glad, man. I think it's a great opportunity. How are the calls for SoFi? I think 2026 are probably good. I don't think I'll pull up the calls for them, but I think that SoFi is set up in a really good position to where I'm excited about my 2025 calls, and I would think that 2026 could be good. If you haven't watched to the person who asked about the calls for 2026, watch my Options 101 video for YouTube. It shows you how to understand all that stuff yourself. And if you still have questions after that, hit me up and we can go over it. I'm going to go to AVAX real quick. Somebody's looking at crypto. Let's see. Hopefully this is the best chart. Yeah, this is a good one. It's old. Okay, cool. And it goes to September 2020. It's probably relevant enough. I don't know, who is this, Binance? Yeah, that's probably about as good as it gets. I don't know if you know what exchange AVAX was on before Binance, let me know. Hey, and thank you for all the guys who joined. Mike, LW Crypto, all you guys, appreciate it, and the tips and everything. I really appreciate you guys. And subscribe, ring the bell if you want to see this stuff every day and pop into this when it happens. I believe there's a lot of alpha in this, so again, join. AVAX, we found support off the .236, and I don't know. This, like most of the other cryptos, it looks like it wants to go higher. Maybe up to 62 would be our next leg. So I'd be looking for 62. I do need to get it to where I'm publishing all of these charts so you guys can just get quick access to them too. I'm gonna try and think about that. In my pinned tweet that I have at the top, or post I have at the top, I'm gonna try and do more where you guys can see all the charts. I'll probably try and add more crypto. A lot of the common stuff that we talk about, I'm gonna add in here. All right, so what was the next one? What do we have? Bros, AVAX, QS. I don't know if I've done QS. Let me see if I can find it. Nope. Okay, make a copy. But yeah, as I get my charts built up, we'll be able to roll through stuff a lot quicker. QuantumScape. Woof, butchered. What is this? Producer manufacturing electrical products. If you can tell me more about what this is and why it's just been destroyed, I'd be curious. Interesting setup. It does look like it's finding a base at the bottom here, but boy, has it just been... Oh, look at their earnings, though. Every earnings just sucks. Oh, they just miss all the time. Is there any revenue for this company? They just burn money. They make nothing. 0.25, so $223,000 is what their revenue was. And they're diluting, and their cash is going away, and their operating expenses haven't changed much. Their cash flow is negative. They're burning $24 million a quarter. How much runway do they have before they go bankrupt or dilute the shit out of everybody? So they have a while. They've still got 270 million. They're 73 in cash and bonds. Not a ton of debt. I don't know anything about this company, but this just... Stock-based comp is huge. They're super in the red. Their operating expenses are way higher than their revenue. I don't know, man. If you know something about this company that gives you... It looks like they're guiding for higher revenues, but their EPS isn't getting any better. This looks like the pain train for a little bit longer to me. Short interest isn't that high. Pretty big mix here. Oh, ARK Invest has a lot in it. I don't know if this is a genomics thing or what. It said electrical, whatever. Yeah, I don't know anything about this company, but this all just looks like shit to me, to be honest. But that could change. I just don't know any catalysts that are going to change it. All right, what else we have here? MDB we already went over. Texas Roadhouse, Biddy, and ENVX. Okay, I think I've heard this one before. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry, Pan W. Let me pull that up. That was the next in the list. I don't think I have that one. I'm going to make a copy. Pan W. Is this Pan? Is this flight stuff? What is this? Let me see. Palo Alto. Oh, okay, cool. Woof, Jesus, guys. Okay. Down 20% in after hours. Earnings is today. Yeah, I don't know if I can give you much on this one right now. Hey, thanks for joining, Spencer. Evidently, somebody didn't like something about earnings. Maybe it's forward guidance. But this is done really well. So, yeah, this is just done really well. It's just been grinding up. And it's had a massive... I don't know. This is one that doesn't interest me too much. Because I'm looking for stuff... Again, the stuff I like is the stuff that sucks. Or has sucked. And these guys... Well, since December of 2022... I guess they haven't went up that much percentage-wise. Let me look at their financials just to be safe on... But again, they're down 19%. Is it worth buying? Let's take a look. I don't know about their earnings, and I'm not going to pull them up right now. But they're getting their ass handed to them in after hours. Revenue, 20%. This is not updated yet because the earnings are just happening. They have high cash. They don't have a lot of debt. I like that. Share dilution is still... It's just been consistent since 2020. Don't love that. Operating expenses are still kind of flattening out, but still kind of climbing. Net income looked good previously. So again, maybe they just had a shitty quarter. Let me see if it shows on here. Does it show? So revenues at least were up and earnings were up. I'm imagining the forward guidance sucked. So I'll keep this one on my radar. There isn't too much to report though, because I don't know what the earnings look like. QS, Pan W, Texas Roadhouse, ENVX. I think I've... Is this that energy one? Let me see real quick. ENVX. I think this is one that I've been shitting on for a long time. Might not be, though. Innovox Corporation, electrical products. All right, maybe I don't know this one. All right, so I do have this. Maybe we already looked at this before. This might not be the one I was thinking of, but we do have it establishing a little bit of a base here on the 226. It needs to get above the 1420 zone to really have a little bit of runway up to 1864, where it's going to hit the common retracement zone. Let me see what this is though. Oh, and I'm getting hungry. I might have to call it in a bit. I didn't pregame. I should have ate a little bit more. Whoa, huge revenue growth. Oh, but off of nothing. Okay, ignore that number. Weird, very choppy revenue. Hate that. This must be very experimental. And operating expenses still kind of trending up. Debt has started to go up the last couple of quarters. They've started more share dilution. No real revenue to speak of. And they're burning money. And negative cash flow. This is one where you got to have some love for this or know something that I don't. Lots of stock-based comp. I don't know. This just looks like a clusterfuck to me, honestly. But they got high guidance for Q4 and Q1. If they hit these things, great. But you got to see, for me, I got to see consistency, or you got to know something about this company that I don't know. And this is one, I think this was really popular on FinTwit for a while, but I don't totally know why. All right, let me see here. Biddy, can you please tell us about your strategy to buy Biddy? I don't buy Biddy. Around the time BCB make money to that. Oh, no. So I don't. So Biddy is the BlackRock fund. BITI is the BlackRock fund. That's not my favorite. I like FBTC more because Fidelity has been a huge supporter versus BlackRock. I don't actually. So strategy to buy around the time BTC peaks. No, I wouldn't buy. No, I mean, you could maybe, I don't know if any of the funds can be shorted at all. I'd have to take a look. I haven't even taken a look at them, honestly, but that might be a strategy. There might be like a strategy where you can start shorting some entities in order to make money. I haven't really figured that out yet. I haven't focused on it, honestly, because we got at least a year and a half until there's a good time to do that. I will have strategies for that. I just haven't put a lot of thought into it yet. ABBTF. I think I might have looked that one up before. Let me see. Ever exercise? Do you ever? I have exercised options before, but honestly, I never do because I buy leaps. I buy things that are 2 years plus out a lot of the time. And so I shouldn't say exercising. I'm selling out way before usually because there's a concept of, watch my options 101 video. There's a concept that a lot of people don't seem to understand between extrinsic value and intrinsic value. With options, I like to capture as much extrinsic value as I can, which is basically the premium along with the intrinsic value. So I sell out way beforehand and then I move on to other stuff. IBIT is the BlackRock fund. Yeah. Oh, what's Biddy? Let me look at Biddy. Oh, that's the inverse one. Oh, now I got you, dude. All right, cool. Yeah, let me pull that up. 1 second. Now I got you. IBIT. Yeah, I got to spend more time on that. I have not. I should actually add that to my list. Let me do that. IBIT. What? What? Let me go back up here. Am I tripping? Am I missing stuff? What's going on? IBIT is the BlackRock fund. Biddy is the other one. Okay. I should rename this then. Why am I? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm being a crackhead. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't know what the multiplier on this is. How bad's it going down? It's probably not a bad way of doing it. I don't know what their fee structure looks like. Again, I haven't really focused too much on shorting right now, and this is a new fund. You can see it's not doing well, obviously, because it shouldn't, because Bitcoin's been doing great. Yeah, this might be a good play. I'll save this. I haven't really thought about it. It's probably one of the simpler ways to do it without having to do like an options trade. This might be a good way to, dial out of some of the options and like miners and things along the way, and then start maybe stacking some of this as an insurance play for downside action in Bitcoin, where if it does start to go down, you can benefit from some of that, and then it pays a divvy too, huh? Cool. Yeah, no, I'll think about that more. That might not be a bad idea, man. Simplicity sometimes is best. I just don't know what they charge for fees. I need to check that out. So I'll try and do that. I think. Okay, let me see. Do we have any more here? I think I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm starving. I need food. So any of you guys, if I don't take care of everybody, in a session or whatever, just come to the next one earlier and throw out your thing and type it in chat. That way I can try and get to it earlier. Hey, how's it going? All right, but I'm heading out, guys. I need to eat. I'm starving. My blood sugar's low. Got to take care of that. So you guys take it easy. Tomorrow, like I said, tomorrow we'll do the market recap with a focus on Rivian earnings, and then obviously jumping over and just seeing if there's any collateral damage from Nvidia or if it's going to the moon. Kind of doubt it's going to go to the moon, but hey, man, it's impressed me the last couple of earnings, so we'll